Drew Clark had a long career in he's air quality mobility director of SSV, among other things. He's also chairs the board, and but in he had 30 years prior to that with developing things like IBM's first internet software products, um, AI and machine learning technologies, as well as the precursor to IBM's Watson. I know him as a mean man in the lab, and a soldier of the solder. And today he's going to talk about SSV's latest STEM project at East San Jose Unified. And he's accompanied by Elizabeth Morales, who is a product of the east side of San Jose and a graduate of Mount Pleasant High School, currently studying at an environmental studies major at San Jose State, but she's moving to San Francisco. I got to tell you, as an alum, bring fleece. Anyway, Elizabeth is SSV's I'm going to say YAQA. I put a W in there. Project consultant, and she has impressed everyone with her intelligence and sense of purpose, and investing in herself for a brighter future. And I love the term sparking passions about air quality and environmental justice issues.
Thank you, Dennis, for the warm intro. I'm Drew Clark, and I look after the air quality mobility programs here at SSV. And we're very excited to talk to you about a new project we've got going on, YAQA, and we'll explain all about that and what it's about. But essentially, it's about empowering youth to join in the fight against air pollution. And we thought today we would take a minute to kind of maybe catch everybody up, make sure everybody's on the same page about what we mean by air pollution, especially on the local level. And then we'll get into a little bit about the program and talk about how we're empowering students in East San Jose to join the fight here. So Elizabeth, you want to advance the slide? Okay, so we've got a set of programs here at SSV to basically work with the community, but by building coalitions with municipalities such as East Palo Alto, for example, San Jose, agencies such as Samtrans and BACMOD and CARB and others, and local tech companies. So we kind of build this three-legged stool, if you will, and we bring these entities together and we form action-oriented projects. And so I'm very excited to be able to look after a set of these projects at SSV. And what you see in the picture here is a group of students at a local high school who are engaged in one of these projects that was actually building devices to monitor and measure air quality, which you see on the right side here. So we'll tell you more about that in the next few slides. Okay. So make sure we're all on the same page. I thought I would grab kind of a global definition of air pollution, and I'll add a little color and a little local spin to this. But basically what we're talking about is anything that talks about the release of pollutants into the air. And that covers a pretty wide range. So in our case, we'll be talking about particulates and gases and other kinds of things. But I want to underscore the fact that while it's not pretty to look at and it doesn't smell great, it's also very deadly in many cases. And we're talking about, on a global basis, some pretty startling statistics I've got here. I won't go ahead and reread those for you, but let's just say that a lot of the planet right now, unfortunately, are living in areas that are impacted by this bad air. We should be very fortunate here in California. We've had some unfortunate incidents in the last few years with the wildfires and the extreme heat caused by climate change that have kind of given us a 1-2 punch in recent times. And the air has been very uncomfortable and in some cases it has been hazardous on a local level. But think about places like India and parts of China and others where they are really, really quite literally gasping for air. So this is a global issue. SSV is very proud to take a role in trying to solve for better air here locally. And the programs we're going to talk about here are all kind of dovetailed into things like the EPA. And we're very fortunate here in the Bay Area that we've got agencies like BACMAD and CARB who are working with us to try to help solve for cleaner air as well. So we're fortunate here, but on a global basis, it's a little uneven in terms of how effective we are in battling this deadly thing. So let's go ahead to the next. Okay, so I think you're on.
Yes.
Elizabeth, take it away.
So after talking about what exactly, is air pollution, we take a look at what exactly air pollution looks like. So for example, we have particles and gases, which are one of the most familiar forms of air pollution. And according to John YAQA, the director of the Clean Air Project, part of the Climate and Clean Energy Program and at NRDC, says that most air pollution comes from energy use and production. And as a result, particulate matter and gases are emitted into the air that we breathe today. And as Drew mentioned, as the temperatures get hotter, the climate gets a little more worse. However, most particles are not visible to the naked eye. The most particles you can see or are more familiar are dust, dirt, and soot. These prominent pollutant gases are constant. Air pollution in the form of carbon dioxide and methane raises the Earth's temperature. So that you can imagine is not good. And moving forward to our drive and our priority is the YAQA project, which in summary, we are targeting low income and disadvantaged communities in the eastside San Jose. We are thankful to be able to have 9 schools out of the Eastside Union High School District participate in this program. And with this, the YAQA program drives courage through our students to our communities. We are funded by the California Air Resources Board for a 2-year, $299,000 project. This way, we are able to help support the teachers, provide air quality sensors to the students, and therefore the students are able to learn through the teachers how to use these air sensors, how to take down data, and how to respectfully present them to their community.
Right. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Yeah, as Elizabeth was saying, the real key here is being able to translate action from the global issue we talked about a few slides ago to something local. How do we empower particularly students in a community such as San Jose to be able to look at what we call hyperlocal data? How do they get their hands around and heads around the air quality where they live and work in their communities, where they go to school? So we've designed a curriculum that we will be presenting to teachers who will then use as their resource to educate students on air quality and how to take action in their community. And so students are going to build things. They're either going to build the monitors themselves, or they'll use pre-built monitors. And these are not toys. These are sophisticated instruments that will monitor and measure both particulate matter and gas. They're going to collect this data, store it in the cloud, and then they've got tools that will help them sort of drill down on the data, if you will, and take a look at what does the air look like on a minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day basis. They'll collect data looking at various geographical areas. They'll look at it at time of day. They'll use very powerful analytical techniques to kind of better understand what the data is telling them. But the whole point of it, the exercise, will be to distill all that down and to pull insights from the data and write action-oriented reports. And so the idea is that we hope that by the end of the project, and maybe incrementally during the project, we'll be able to report out to local leadership, to officials in San Jose, perhaps industry officials, what they're seeing in the data, how the air is affecting them, where they live, and what's happening in their communities. Next slide, please. Final slide. This is an example of a tool that they'll be able to use that will allow them to visualize all of this data. So that the numbers and the alphabet soup that they'll collect isn't terribly meaningful in itself. But if they can use tools like this to put the data in context and be able to understand what the data is telling them in terms of where specifically the readings are high, what are they reading at those locations? What time of day is it? Is it a coincident with a morning or afternoon commute, perhaps? Is it located near a factory or other potential pollutant source? What's the reference data telling them? We've got all kinds of monitors around the Bay Area from agencies like BACMOD. What are they reading and how are our readings different? So the idea is to really turn these kids into citizen scientists and allow them to basically unleash their initiative on the data, and then to wrap it up in terms of action-oriented reports and presentations to the leadership. And we hope that will empower a new generation of students here. We're also hoping that the teachers will receive enough value from the program that they'll keep this going as well and have a legacy of leadership in the San Jose school system. And then ultimately, we hope that over time, and given more funding, perhaps we'll be able to scale this up beyond East San Jose and perhaps the whole city and perhaps other cities in the Bay Area, other school systems as we go. Next slide. So thank you very much. Dennis, I was trying to be reasonably concise here this year. So we finished, I think, ahead of schedule, and we'll take some questions.
Well, let's see. We have, so this is from Martin. He says, it seems to me a real valuable data gathering effort, but what happens next? It seems we're not talking about point sources, but rather diffused or extensive areas. So I guess it's a question on the quality.
Yeah, okay, I think I understand. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for the question. Actually, in a lot of cases, there will be point sources. Dr. Tony Strawa will be talking tomorrow, actually at 3:30, and he'll get into much more detail about specifically how we identify these sources and what kind of point sources they are. These are pretty localized sensors. The actual devices are portable and will be carried on backpacks and will be moved around during the day. And so we'll get very specific temporal and geospatial information. Everything is tied to GPS coordinates. So I think we'll pretty much be able to dial in where the emitters are and what the magnitude of those emissions are. Anyone else?
I actually not yet. I have a question just in terms of the just the reception from the teachers,
Mm-hmm.
and just the plan for
Sure.
STEM boot camp.
Okay, very good. Yeah. So we are working with the Eastside Union High School District to identify teachers as we speak who will participate in a workshop midsummer, and will learn the basic techniques will work with us to give us feedback on the curriculum and bring that up to date and in line with their standards. And then we hope that in August, when the kids go back to school, we will start up our first semester of participation. And the program will run 2 years. And so we'll run through several semesters of data collection and analysis and readout and reporting as we go through. And hopefully we and the teachers will learn from each semester, and we'll get better as we go through.
I see. And here's another question that's popped up. Let me
From Martin again.
From Martin again. Well, basically, what type of technology is planned to be deployed to do the on-site cleaning? So cartridges or the like. If so, what happens with spent cartridges? So this is more of a measurement and monitoring.
Yeah, but it does bring up.
Remediation.
Yeah, it does bring up a good point, though, Dennis, is that you could ask the question, well, what about remediation? And that's another project, I think. Certainly, it's coupled with our project, but we were funded basically to do the what they call the community air quality monitoring. And so this is a project here to really monitor and collect and take action. But we'd love to get involved with a remediation project, Martin, and maybe you could help us with that, identify what steps could be taken given this data, which I think is going to be a very rich data set. Where do we take it, and who do we talk to about taking some next steps in San Jose?
Well, Martin had said, good to hear about a sequel.
Yeah.
So maybe you have like a Marvel
we would love to do
it.
We would love to do a follow-on. Absolutely.
And he mentioned that he did something similar for UC Davis. So perhaps it'd be worth talking.
I would love to learn from that exercise. Yes.
Yeah. So
Martin, if you can get in touch with us, we'd appreciate that.
Yeah. So yeah, Drew, if you want, maybe in the chat, if you want to,
okay,
talk to Martin and see what he did last week in Davis. Well, anyway, thanks for coming on and showing us what is going on, and good luck with the midsummer. Martin put his email address in the chat.
Terrific.
So look forward to the midsummer session, and and kind of moving forward in the classroom.